Welcome back to Terror and Urban Myths. I'm so glad you could join us for another journey into, well, the unexplained, I guess you could say. Before we get going today, though, just a reminder to subscribe and like the show so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Today, we're headed to Beijing, China, to investigate one of its most chilling urban legends, the tale of Bus 302.
This story, it's really interesting because it kind of mixes historical things with a modern setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It's like this reflection of a society that's changing so fast where like
That's what I miss.
the old ways and modern life kind of crash together in these really unsettling ways.
Totally.
So let's set the scene. It's 1995. Beijing is this bustling city full of energy, and there's this young man waiting for the last bus out of Fragrance Hills, a place known for its temples and its natural beauty. It all seems pretty normal at first, but as we'll see, appearances can be deceiving.
Fragrance Hills, yeah, that's important too. It's connected to spirituality and the otherworldly. It's like it creates this sense of, liminality where the lines between real and supernatural get blurry.
Right, like the perfect setting for a ghost story. And speaking of ghosts, these two figures come out of the darkness and they flag down the bus. And this is where things get really weird. They're dressed in what looks like ancient Qin dynasty clothing, like robes and armor from over 2,000 years ago.
That choice of clothing, the Qin dynasty, it's really significant, you see. This dynasty, it's remembered for its power, brutality, and this ambition to unify China under a single rule. It's like a symbol of a powerful past that, in some ways, still haunts the present.
They're embodiments of this bygone era, a time of emperors and warriors, and maybe, as the story suggests, a time when the veil between the living and the dead was much thinner. And it gets even stranger because as they get on the bus, it becomes clear that there's a third figure with them, unconscious, being carried by the other two, and all three of them have these faces, described as pale, almost ghostly. And they're totally silent, just this unsettling silence.
Their appearance, it really lines up with classic images of the supernatural. The paleness, the silence, it all points to something not quite human. It taps into that primal fear of sickness and death, the unknown.
Yeah, I can only imagine the tension on that bus.
Yeah.
Passengers start to feel uneasy. They're sharing glances, wondering who these strangers are and where they came from. As the bus keeps going, people start getting off. Until he's just a young man, an old woman, and the three mysterious figures left.
That isolation, it's key. By focusing on just these few characters, the story creates the sense of claustrophobia, of being trapped in a situation that's out of control.
Right.
Yeah.
And just when the tension is at its peak, the old woman, she accuses the young man of stealing her wallet. Their argument, it gets so heated that the bus driver has to step in, and he makes them both get off the bus. It seems like such a strange coincidence, but maybe there's more to it.
That sudden conflict, it adds this whole other layer of mystery. Is the old woman really upset, or is this outburst, like a deliberate act, a way to get the young man out of a dangerous situation?
Yeah, that's the big question. The bus drives off, leaving the young man, totally bewildered and frustrated. He turns to the old woman, thinking she's going to head to the police. But her response is chilling.
It really is. Her words. With this knowing smile, there's no police station here. I saved your life. Those men, they have no legs. They are demons or ghosts.
It's a total twist. Was she really protecting him from something sinister? Or was it all just a misunderstanding? We'll dive deeper into this mystery and explore the possibilities after a quick break. So stay with us.
Those words from the old woman, they really open up this chilling possibility that the young man was targeted by something supernatural. But what were they after, and why did she step in? The story doesn't really give us any easy answers. It just leaves us to think about the unsettling unknown.
Yeah, it's like that classic thing with urban legends, the ambiguity. No real resolution. It makes you wonder if there's more to reality than we can see, like if there are forces at work that we just don't understand.
Exactly. And it's especially powerful in the context of China's rapid modernization, as these old traditions clash with new ways of life. You get these stories that pop up as a way to deal with
the anxieties of change.
I see what you're saying. So let's dig into the symbolism a bit. You mentioned the Qin dynasty representing this powerful past. But what about the fact that these figures are described as having no legs?
Yeah.
That's such a specific and unsettling detail.
That's a great point in a lot of cultures. Having no legs or feet, it symbolizes this detachment from the physical world, like a connection to the realm of spirits or ghosts. It also suggests this sense of incompleteness, a being that's not fully formed or grounded.
Which fits with the idea of them being demons or ghosts.
Absolutely.
Chinese folklore is full of these kinds of supernatural beings. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, it's fascinating. Chinese folklore is packed with stories of spirits, demons, ghosts. They often represent these forces beyond our control, embodying the unpredictable nature of life and the lingering presence of the past. So it's like these figures on bus 302 are a manifestation of those ancient fears.
Right.
Like a reminder that even in a modern city like Beijing, the shadows still hold their secrets.
Right.
But what about the old woman? Was she really trying to protect him? Or is there another explanation?
Well, her role is really interesting. She seems to have this certain wisdom and awareness of the supernatural that other people don't have. In a lot of cultures, elderly figures, especially women, are seen as having a connection to the spirit world.
Like, she can see through the illusion. She recognizes the true nature of these passengers, while everyone else is totally clueless. Yeah. But there's another possibility, too. Heidi.
Yeah.
She could be a really cunning opportunist, using the legend to her advantage.
That's a good point. Maybe she's a skilled manipulator, using the young man's fear and confusion to get away with stealing his wallet. It adds that extra layer of ambiguity, blurring the lines between genuine concern and just plain selfishness.
So we're left with these two equally compelling possibilities. Yeah. A selfless protector or a cunning thief, both interpretations. Say something like human nature, the way fear and opportunity can get mixed up in unexpected ways. But there's one last thing we haven't talked about yet. The two different endings to this tale in one version. The bus is found wrecked in a river. The driver is dead. But there's no sign of the three figures. And in the other version, the young man is just left to think about the encounter, forever questioning what really happened.
Yeah. The two endings represent different ways of dealing with the unexplainable, the bus crash. It gives us a more concrete resolution. It suggests that these supernatural forces had a real impact on the physical world. It reinforces the idea that these entities aren't just in our imaginations, but powerful forces that can cause real harm.
It's a chilling reminder that encounters with the unknown can have real consequences, but that second ending, where the young man is just left with the ambiguity, that feels even more unsettling.
I agree. That ending focuses on the psychological impact. It's about the lingering doubt, the erosion of certainty, the fear that the world might be far stranger and more dangerous than we believe.
It speaks to the power of urban legends to stick with us. Long after the story is over, they plant these seeds of unease, making us question what we see.
And wonder what's hiding, just beyond the ordinary. Okay, so we've explored this chilling legend of Bus 302. We've looked at its symbolism and considered different interpretations of the old woman's actions. But what do we take away from this? What truths, if any, are hidden beneath the surface?
I think the real power of this story is how it taps into our deepest anxieties about the unknown. It's a reflection of our own fears and uncertainties.
Yeah.
Just magnified through the supernatural.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even in this world of technology and progress, there are still mysteries out there that we can't explain. There are still those shadows lurking at the edges, waiting to be explored.
Right. And the way we interpret these stories, the meaning we give them, it says as much about us as it does about the cultures that created them. Exactly. For some people, the legend of Bus 302 might be a cautionary tale, like a reminder to be careful around strangers or to avoid certain places at night.
Yeah. And for others, it might reinforce their belief in the supernatural, strengthening their conviction that there are forces out there beyond what we can see and understand.
It all comes back to confronting the limits of our knowledge, accepting that there are things we may never fully grasp.
Yeah. And maybe in that confrontation, we can find a new appreciation for the mysteries that surround us, for the power of stories.
Right.
To both scare us
and teach us something.
Well, I gotta say, after this conversation, I'm definitely gonna be looking over my shoulder. Next time I'm waiting for a late night bus.
Yeah.
To our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this chilling tale. Do you believe in the supernatural? Have you ever experienced something that you couldn't explain?
Yeah. Share your stories in the comments below. Let's keep talking about this.
And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Terror and Urban Myths and give us a like if you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, keep exploring the shadows, keep questioning the unknown, and as always, stay curious.